All right. Let's see, just make sure everything's working here. It's doing the thing again. Let's close those tabs. All right. There we go. Just had to make sure the video was working on this thing. Okay. Sitting here. Let's see if we can get some people in here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. So as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be reacting to yesterday's game and do a little stock up, stock down. There's a lot of names on the list, right? There's a lot that we're paying attention to. Some guys that stood out, some guys that stood out for bad reasons, and guys that just didn't perform well. So going through this, just the immediate reaction, I want to go ahead and I want to pull the depth chart up here so that I can just have reference to everybody that we're going to talk about. Okay. So starting offensively, I thought that offensively, especially the starters, just didn't perform the way I hoped they were going to perform, right? They end up getting off the field pretty early and just not sharp, which is what we've seen in practice. When we're in practice and we have pads on, defense is winning those days. So coming into the game against a different defense, I was sitting here hoping, like, okay, maybe our offense against another team, like maybe they'll be able to start to really get rolling. You could tell with Anthony Richardson and a lot of those guys on the offense, right, coming back from injury from last year, it's going to take a minute. Like, they're knocking the rust off. I think as they went on, it was getting better. So that's really what we're looking for going forward, going into joint practice, just continuing to get better, right? Those small mistakes that we're making, just continue to get better and not have those affect us the way that they affected us against the Broncos. We easily could have won that game. Now, the defense, right, we put up 30 points. Defense gives up 34. Throughout the day, starters, second string, third string, it didn't matter. Defense was giving up a lot. The only thing that saved us from giving up probably 50-plus points in that game was the fact that the Broncos had their own miscues, right? Penalties that was getting our defense off the field and helping our defense out. But at the end of the day, the defense just wasn't performing well enough. Now, the thing about the starters, DeForest Buckner did not play. Juju Brents did not play. So neither of those guys in there going into the season, those guys are going to be important for us, right? So, getting some rest. DeForest Buckner probably just more of a, like, you're the most veteran guy on the team. You know what you're doing. We don't need you to go. He's played through injuries in the past. So you just go ahead, rest up. We're going to need you as we get into the season. Juju, I saw that it was a shoulder issue for Juju, and that if it was a regular season game, he would have been able to play. But they're just being, precautionary with it, trying to be safe, and just held him out. So you had people that had a chance to step up, right? Dallas Flowers had a chance to step up. I thought Jalen Jones played pretty well. Obviously wasn't perfect. He let up some catches, but just like last year, when Jalen Jones lets up a catch, he's usually on top of it with the tackle. He's not giving up a bunch of extra yards after the catch. And then you had Dallas Flowers, who's on the stock down side of things. Dallas Flowers just didn't have a good day, was giving up catches. to people on the second team was he had two different defensive pass interference. One was only for like 12 yards. It wasn't deep down the field, but there was one that was deep down the field. And Dallas Flowers, a tough day, first day back. Last year he looked so good going into the season, right? Those first couple games he looked really good as cornerback one. And right now, he's one of those guys knocking the rust off, trying to get back into playing shape and getting back into the groove of things. So Dallas Flowers, just not a great outing by him. But then going through things, again, having the depth chart here, Anthony Richardson got to clean things up. Accuracy, throwing too high, he's got to bring that down. We keep talking about that through practices. That's one thing Anthony Richardson still has to work on. Now the backup quarterbacks. Excuse me. Sam Ehlinger, I think, showed enough to, at the moment, still have the QB3 job, right? The emergency quarterback. I still think that's Sam Ehlinger at the moment. But I thought there was some you saw from Keaton Slovis that was good and some not, right? Laquan Treadwell was wide open in the end zone. Wide open in the end zone. And Keaton Slovis way overthrew him, right? It was like one of those, in my opinion, right? Keaton Slovis coming in, young guy. It seems like he's just real excited, right? Saw a guy wide open, just too much juice on the ball because his adrenaline was flying, right? He saw the touchdown and got too juiced, got too far ahead rather than just being in the moment, get the ball to where it's supposed to be, and then celebrate. It's common with young people. You want to see next time if that happens, right? Can he hit the guy in the end zone? But I have Jason Bean on the stock up because Jason Bean, even though he had a fumble in the game, and it wasn't great, right? He started to move out of the pocket, went to tuck the ball, didn't have it tucked well enough, got hit out, Colts lose possession. So not great there, but I thought what he showed with the mobility that he has, I think when we're talking about the third string quarterback on this team in Shane Steichen's offense, like, is it better suited for Sam Ehlinger or Jason Bean? And I think there's an argument for Jason Bean, right? The throws he made weren't terrible, right? He made some good throws. Now, he did end up the offense scored a touchdown with him on the field, and then he ends up throwing the interception on the 2-point conversion. So, little this, little that. But he did throw the touchdown to Laquan Treadwell, who, like I said, was open when Keaton Slovis was on the field, wide open for a touchdown. So Laquan Treadwell is somebody that's gone place to place, coming into the – my apologies. Had to let that one roll. Laquan Treadwell coming into the NFL. I was high on him. It just didn't work out. Got drafted by Minnesota. He's been in a few different places and obviously hasn't stuck. Ends up with us. And I thought he performed pretty well just from what we saw. Maybe he stays on team and is able to get back to our practice squad. And we just keep him there. Maybe he can get elevated if we need him as a depth piece. I think there are worse options. DJ Montgomery dropped a pass in the game, but he has experience here, so it's likely that he's, better fit to be here. Juwan Winfrey last year ends up playing a little bit, gets cut, ends up back on the roster here in 2024. Will he stick around since he's gotten cut before? Maybe he gets cut again, and Laquan Treadwell ends up coming back. So, what's happening with the wide receivers is going to be something to watch. Those depth pieces of wide receiver. Ethan Fournier made some plays in the game. So going forward, going to be looking at that. I thought the running backs went about how I thought it would. Trey Sermon, a veteran in the league, but nothing special. He ends up leaving with a hamstring injury. Trent Penix is down on the depth chart. Somebody people were hoping to see, a guy who was a tight end, went to running back. He didn't get much action, ended up going out with a groin injury. Tyler Goodson was Tyler Goodson. Nothing real special with him, although there was a play that reminded me of that 4th-and-1 play to end the season. Joe Flacco is with the second team. Joe Flacco threw the ball, hit Tyler Goodson on the quick out in the flat by himself, and threw it to where it was supposed to be. And I just remember when I saw it live, I just thought, wow, that's exactly how it could have went. We could have made the play. We could have made the playoffs if we have Joe Flacco making that throw instead of Gardner Minshew, which was just interesting. But nonetheless, Tyler Goodson, nothing special there. Evan Hull, though, did get in. Evan Hull is on the stock up list. Evan Hull looked good. Again, with injuries to some guys, his stock going up, right, bringing him up. But coming back from the injury, right, there were so many guys coming back from injury on the team. And of all those guys, I think he probably looked the best out of any of them. Just sitting here thinking about it, like I really think he looked the way he did last year, right? In the preseason last year, he looked like he could be a good number 2 piece for us. With Zach Moss being injured through the preseason last year, it looked like Evan Hull might be a good number 2 back. And then he gets hurt in the first game, and we don't see him for the rest of the season. So with him coming in, I was hoping he would do well. He ends up doing well. He gets into the end zone, showed a lot of explosive ability, running hard. So really like what I was able to see from Evan Hull. Liked it a lot. And now the offensive line. Most of the offensive line is on stock up. I thought most of the offensive line looked pretty good. Tanner Bortolini looked good on the inside. I think Mac and Savez had a couple reps that weren't great. Some stuff that he's definitely got to clean up. And he'll be able to do that, right? With the coaching that's here, he's got Braden Smith. He's right behind Braden Smith, and Braden Smith is a veteran in this league now. So he's got some stuff to clean up and learn from. But looking at the tape, I went through, watched it before I started recording this. I wanted to make sure I went and saw everything again so that I could be fresh. And I thought Mac and Savez did pretty well. You can tell on the field, just watching the tape, he is a big human being. All right, as long as they can work on his footwork and get him, up his explosiveness a little bit. Maybe get a little more lean. You don't want to get, too small as a lineman, but get him a little more lean. Work on his footwork, help his athleticism a little bit, and then I think he can take over and be a guy for us. Really the only person, Dalton Tucker, also somebody of note on the offensive line as a depth piece. Seems like he's definitely going to be making the team. But I'll tell you what, I heard that physically Blake Freeland looked better this year. Looked more like what he should. But through practice, there have been different times where clips have come out of Blake Freeland getting toasted, most notably with Latu. Latu killed him. Blake Freeland looked like he didn't belong on the field yesterday. All right. I was sitting there as I was watching the offensive line, like even watching it live. You could just see Blake Freeland just can't get the job done. And it's a problem, man. It's quite the problem. So what are we going to do there? Hey, maybe Blake Freeland gets cut. Maybe Jake Witt comes back him up. I think our backups right now at tackle, we're in an interesting spot. Dalton Tucker has the versatility to play tackle. Would it be possible for him to be somebody who we can consider a swing tackle at a backup position if we absolutely need to? How are we going to go about it, right? Again, Tanner Bortolini looked good. I'm not going to lie, didn't catch Danny Pinter. Didn't really pay attention to that. I'll have to go back through, see where Danny Pinter is, see how he did. But that backup left tackle spot seems like it's quite an issue right now. So we need Bernie to stay healthy. Ideally, Bernie just stays on the field all season long. But for the most part, offensive line performed well. Blake Freeland did not. That's really all. That's the only offensive lineman, in my opinion, that didn't perform well was Blake Freeland. Okay, and then tight end. Tight end is a complicated position. I think Jordan Murray for sure not going to be on the team. Eric Tomlinson probably in the same category. I think Mo Alley Cox and Kylan Granson are on the stock up for me. Guys that play with the first team. Kylan was able to make a catch. It wasn't a great throw, a little bit behind him, so he ends up not getting the first down. If it was thrown in the correct spot, probably a first down. There was also one where AR targeted Kylan Granson. It just was again not a great throw into a certain amount of coverage, certain coverage. And number 27 for the Broncos almost got the interception but dropped it. So Kylan Granson getting targets. Mo Alley Cox got a catch in that, which was a great pass by Anthony Richardson. Because you'll hear quarterbacks talk about how, like on exactly what Mo Alley Cox did. Sometimes you need to throw the ball to either the inside shoulder and make sure they can catch it on the inside and spin away from the defender, or throw it purposely to the outside of the receiver so he can turn and get away from the defender, which is exactly what AR did. The defender was coming up on Mo Alley Cox on the inside, so Anthony Richardson throws it to the outside, throws it to the outside hip. Mo Alley Cox able to get it, makes that turn, boom, gets upfield. It was like a 15-yard gain. So good job by Mo Alley Cox. The way Mo Alley Cox can block in the run game, he's just going to be here. That's what I picked up from the first preseason game, is that Mo Alley Cox is going to be a mainstay here. He's going to be somebody that's making the roster. So we have those two. And then it gets interesting. Drew Ogletree also good in the blocking game. Not sure he got targeted, but he is very aggressive. He's strong, of course, a big body. Drew Ogletree going to make the team because he can be, the essential backup to Mo Alley Cox. Like those two interchangeable, right? Drew Ogletree is the next best blocking tight end that we have. So it comes down to Jelani Woods and Will Mallory. Now, the way we constructed the team here on this channel, we keep 5 tight ends. The problem, and this was brought to my attention, I didn't think about it. In order to make the practice squad, you have to get waived, and then we have to bring you back to sign you to the practice squad. Neither Jelani Woods nor Will Mallory is going to make it there. So do either of these guys get cut? Right? Does Jelani Woods get cut? Now, Jelani made a catch, but Jelani not doing enough. Jelani's not a big part of the offense, even for the younger guys and for the fourth. And right when you had Keaton Slovis, Jason Bean, and 4th and 5th quarterbacks coming in, Jelani still wasn't a big part of what was going on. From a running standpoint, he's a big body, but he's not a road grader like Mo Alley Cox and Drew Ogletree is tight ends. Will Mallory's the guy that I continue to mention. Will Mallory's a guy that I think is going to continue to get more action with what he can do, his actual being a vertical threat. We saw it last season. We saw it in the game yesterday. Will Mallory is a downfield threat and has a place in the offense for that. So I think we're getting to a spot where Jelani Woods is about to be the odd man out. And I don't know what's going to happen with him. Because, again, you cut him, somebody else is probably picking him up. Who could it possibly be? Who knows? I don't know who needs a tight end out there. I don't know, maybe a team like the Dolphins, right? I don't know who the Dolphins have a tight end. Pretty sure they don't have anybody great. So maybe they get Jelani Woods, and maybe Jelani Woods becomes a star somewhere else, right? So it's just interesting what's going to happen there. We didn't get much clarification, but Jelani Woods is on the stock down list. On not necessarily on mine. I didn't think it was terrible. I did see him on some other people's stock down list. Just not great off the rip. So as we go through this, some of the guys we've talked about through stock up: Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson. The offensive line: Evan Hull, Will Mallory, Jason Bean, Laquan Treadwell. Those guys are stock up right now. That's from the offensive side of things, which is what we really talked about, is offense for the most part. Blake Freeland, like I said, stock down for him. Stock down for Keaton Slovis. And then on the defensive side of things, who do I have on stock up? Cameron McGrone, somebody that I recently said that I thought it could be time for him to go. And then he comes out and is making plays in the game. And it wasn't perfect. There were, on defensively, there's some stuff that needs to be cleaned up, right? Like, just not the greatest tackler. What he does on defense, and you saw there was too much yesterday on defense with those depth guys. Jalen Simpson, stock down guy, because of some of the effort trying to tackle. Just diving at a guy, but not really diving for a guy. You're just diving at the guy. There were a little bit of that from Cameron McGrone, but Cameron McGrone also made some good plays, showed his athleticism. So a little up and down for him, but I thought from where I was on him previously, he's a stock up guy for me. Micah Abraham, somebody I've been very excited about. I've talked about this guy coming out of Marshall when I made the video about him after we drafted him. I told people and been trying to tell you guys, he is the future behind Kenny Moore. That kind of got mentioned during the broadcast yesterday after he made that play, right? They were talking about, this is a guy with, such and such skills. This guy could be really good in the slot someday. So that's what's expected in the future. I think Mike Abraham has the tools to be great. He was able to make a really good play, good effort play, able to strip the ball, right? Defender was getting by him and about to get tackled by somebody else, I think Cameron McGrone. And then Mike Abraham is able to reach in, rips the ball out, gets the ball out of the air, and then turns away from number 45 on the Broncos and takes it to the house for a touchdown. Really impressive play by Mike Abraham, and really good to see him make a play. That was one thing when I was ending the stream yesterday, right? I had to end the stream at halftime to go to work. And I had mentioned that two guys that I hope come in and make plays. I hope Mike Abraham does well in the second half. I hope Jason Bean makes some plays. Jason Bean did his thing. Mike Abraham did his. So glad to see that kind of what I expected was going to happen kind of happened, right? The guys I expected to make plays made plays. And then as we go through, a couple guys on the defensive line, the starter was Tyquan Lewis, which is interesting. Throughout practice, Latu has been the starter on the opposite side of Kwity Paye. It ends up being Tyquan Lewis. And Tyquan Lewis early was getting pressure. Tyquan Lewis looked good. And then there was a point on a third down, the first third down for the Colts. They put in their, what I assume is their speed package, right? And I assume in actual games, it would be DeForest Buckner on the field instead of Grover Stewart. But it was Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, Grover Stewart, and then Latu on the other side. So I think that package right there has a lot of potential to be really good on third downs, having that speed package there in obvious passing situations. You put DeForest Buckner in there, so hard to stop, in my opinion, having those four on the field together. And again, Tyquan Lewis, he stocked up because he looked really good early. Latu, he saw some double teams. And he wasn't getting home every time. There were a couple times where, in the game of chess that tackles and defensive ends played, hey, he lost some reps. And that's going to happen. He's not going to win every rep. We expect him to win a lot, not all of them. But he got a good pressure rate, was able to get the quarterback to move off his spot a lot, which is really what we're looking for. There was the first pressure he had in the game was against Bo Nix. Bo Nix steps up, tries to throw it to a receiver, but because he's stepping up, he's off balance, thrown over his offensive lineman, and kind of a chaotic little sequence trying to throw the ball, ends up hitting the ground at the receiver's feet, right? Those little things, right? Getting a guy off his spot to, make a mistake, but also just like that, make a pass that's not great. So those are the kinds of things we're looking for. Wherever we get pressure, whether it's up the middle, whether it's edge pressure, whatever it may be, that's what we're really looking for, is just getting more pressure. What's going on, everybody? Just switch back real quick. Saw that you guys were in the comment section. What's going on? Daniel says, I'm not worried about AR yet. He is basically still a rookie. What we need to see from him is to stay healthy and continue to develop. 100%. Right? This is a guy who barely has played in the NFL. Right? What we saw last year was really good and gets us really excited. But coming in this year, it's basically his rookie season again. Right? He's got to get into the flow of things. He hasn't played football, real meaningful football, in so long. So, kind of expected it to not be great right away. But like you said, right, we want to see him develop. We want to see him continue to just ascend upward. That's what we want to see. And, of course, being able to stay healthy. Sko, what's up, man? I still don't blame Minshew. That was a catchable ball. I mean, listen, it did hit his hands, right? That Goodson pass, it did hit his hands. So I get that. 100% understand that. Could have been much more catchable. And I think what we saw from, if you go back and look at that play, Minshew could have made it more catchable. Minshew was being a spaz in the moment and it was just too far out of range, right? Goodson would have had to it would have been an incredible catch. I know on screen, maybe it hit his hands. He should have been able to have, that's tough. Trying to stretch out. You're running one way. He's trying to stop his momentum all at one time and stretch out to go get a ball that's going the wrong way. Listen, Minshew didn't throw great. Still hit his hands, so could have been catchable. Flacco threw a very catchable ball. That's what I'm saying. Flacco made it very catchable. Gardaki's playground. I hope I say that right. That's how I've always said it. Gardaki's playground. Mo looks the best. Yeah, I think Mo and Kylan, I think it's pretty clear that those are the guys that are going to be the tight ends for the first team. I don't think their position is in doubt at all. Will Mallory's the only threat to that because of what he can do. But even still, Kylan Granson has so much familiarity. Kylan Granson can get so much use in this offense. Again, mismatch problem. We say that so often. So Kylan Granson just seems like the guy to me. That's going to be up there. And then Mo's going to be on the first team because he's a great run blocker. Yeah, Freeland was terrible. Latu had the pressure that led to the more interception. Right, yeah, exactly. Getting pressure, making quarterbacks make bad decisions. That's exactly what we need. Latu reaches his potential. That drop may end up being better for us in a long term. Short playoff run. I might just be going brain dead. What do you mean that drop? Him dropping in the draft? Is that what you're talking about? And while I wait for that, going through the rest of these, we talked about Latu. We talked about Tyquan Lewis. Oh, yeah, somebody else on the defensive line. This is the last of the stock up guys. It's going to be Tommy Ade. I was really pleased with what Ade was able to do yesterday. The defensive tackle we drafted last year, athletically a freak. He's a little bit small for defensive tackle, especially compared to the guys we have, right? We have a couple of massive human beings. Oh, I see what you're saying. The drop, okay, and then because we get better playoff positioning, I see what you're saying. Yeah, 100%, right? Being able to get an earlier draft pick, being able to get Latu, yeah, you're exactly right, yeah. But yeah, Tommy Ade, somebody that I thought played well yesterday. I know there was one time he was chasing, I think it was Bo Nix. I think he was chasing Bo Nix. And Nick still ends up getting around the corner, gets the outside, picks up a first down. It was like a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. But Tommy Ade was step for step with him. It wasn't like Nix was getting away. Tommy Ade's a big dude, and he was right there with Nix. So I thought he did really well. I think that He still has some development, but I think from year one to year two, what I saw yesterday was really promising. I thought there was moments where he seemed dominant on the inside, able to win and shed really easily. I thought he was able to get and make the quarterback feel uncomfortable, right? And for when we talk about the Broncos, like the Broncos was a good first test in the preseason, right? When you're talking about a preseason test for your entire team, you're starting with Jarrett Stidham, who might not be incredible, but has starting experience in the NFL, and didn't look awful, right? In the NFL, he's not awful, right? Like a decent backup, Jarrett Stidham. Bo Nix, somebody that I've been vocal about. I think Bo Nix is going to be great in the NFL. I think he showed some of those flashes yesterday, excuse me, against our defense. And that's going to happen, right? He was going up against our twos and our threes. So he was bound to ball out yesterday. But, again, good quarterback going against him. And then Zach Wilson, plenty of experience starting in the NFL. Like, the amount of experience and then with Bo Nix, the amount of talent that those Denver quarterbacks had, it was a great test for the defense. I thought Tommy Ade, for what it's worth, I thought he just did well. I thought he was able to make the quarterbacks uncomfortable. I thought he showed some good stuff with his athleticism yesterday. So that's the list, the stock up list. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, Cameron McGrone, Micah Abraham, Liatu Latu, most of the offensive line, pretty much everybody outside of Blake Freeland, Tyquan Lewis, Evan Holt, Tommy Ade, Will Mallory, Laquan Treadwell, and Jason Bean. Then the stock down, we already mentioned Dallas Flowers, had a tough time. We already mentioned Blake Freeland, could easily not be on the team by the time the regular season rolls around. Taven Bryan, why did he get re-signed? Why is he here? Why is Taven Bryan? Taven Bryan started yesterday with DeForest Buckner out. Taven Bryan was maybe the Colts' worst player yesterday. I am not being dramatic. That is not hyperbole. There's somebody else on the interior of the defensive line that has an argument for worst player that played yesterday. Taven Bryan was bad. Now, a lot of the interior line was bad, okay? When I mentioned Taven Bryan, the next person on this list, Eric Johnson, didn't look good yesterday. He wasn't terrible, I'd say, in terms of Taven Bryan, Eric Johnson, Jonah Lalu, who was drafted in the 7th round this year. You're talking about those three players, Eric Johnson has a better chance of sticking around than the rest of them. I just think Eric Johnson, not great on the interior. Taven Bryan was terrible. And then Jonah Lalu makes this list for one play. A single play. And I need you to understand how embarrassing this was, okay? You had Bo Nix, okay? Bo Nix was the quarterback at the time. And what was it an option? No, it wasn't even an option. I think they had just gotten pressure. I think people just got pressure, and then, or maybe it was a screen. I don't remember what the situation was. I just know that I watched 74. I didn't know who it was at the time. I watched 74 come into the backfield, start running toward the quarterback, right? Started running toward Bo Nix. Bo Nix just hits one jab step. Like, it wasn't even like, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't like an Allen Iverson jab step. It was like he just jab stepped real quick and went the other way. It wasn't anything special. Wasn't special. Jonah Lalu didn't just like boom and like break his ankles. Jonah Lalu, this dude turned his whole body and started running straight that way. And then it took about 3 seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds in real time for this dude to be like, oh, wait. And then looked around and figured out that the play was going the other way. Hey, Jonah Lalu, that was embarrassing. I'm sorry. I had some hope. Hey, maybe this guy can come in and be a guy. 7th round rookie. Colts might as well just not had a 7th-round pick this year. I don't think he's going to be sticking on the team. That might be a little harsh. Sorry. I just observe and report. I'm not trying to tear people down. I just observe and report. It was bad, man. Jonah Lalu might be one of those guys that coaches go up to when they're cutting him and hey, man, I'm glad that you came out here and you put your best foot forward and you tried, but I just don't know if you're suited for the NFL. Might be those kinds of conversations. If we don't play in the last season, we weren't picking 15. Don't get lied to. Yeah, 100%. Brian just keeps showing us how bad he is. Yeah, I don't see what Chris Ballard sees in Taven Bryan at all. I know Chris Ballard and Andrew Berry are friends. Maybe there's something in that connection, and he brings him because Taven Bryan was with the Browns before. I have no idea. Blue Nation, what's up, man? Appreciate you stopping by. I really have no idea why Taven Bryan's around. But as we look forward, right, Cameron McGrone was somebody that I thought was going to end up off the team. Seems like he made some plays yesterday that could have him stay on the team. Liam Anderson, though, as I looked through and rewatched the game, Liam Anderson was really bad. At least on the defensive side of things. Whatever he does on special teams, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the special teams at this point. I don't like, and actually that's the next thing on here. The Colts kick return is on the stock down list. That's just what I listed as Colts kick return. We had Anthony Gould, who was able to get up the field one time. Took it to the 40, 45, one good return. But a lot of our kick returns didn't go well. I don't like, and maybe this is what every team's doing. I wasn't paying attention to the Broncos really either. What the Colts were doing was that they had the two guys back, and then the guy that wasn't getting the ball kicked to him would run up to, in the one I was noticing, Tyler Goodson would run from the left side of the field, and he would go to the right side of the field to block the gunner on the other side, the guy that's lined up in the gunner spot, and he would block him. And it looks stupid. I'm not going to lie. It looks so stupid. Having a guy run clear across the field for what? I don't understand why you wouldn't just Tyler Goodson can run up and block the gunner over here. Or if it's on this side, Anthony Gould can just run up and block the gunner over here. I don't understand what we're doing. Maybe I'll have to just see what other teams are doing to see if what we're doing looks weird. I didn't like the way we went about our kickoff coverage. But Liam Anderson, on the defensive side of things, didn't look good. Liam Anderson on the roster bubble, somebody who, in my opinion, probably good. He's probably going to get cut. He looked really bad. It stood out, in a bad way. You don't, if you're standing out, you want it to be good, right? That's pretty simple. And it just wasn't. He stood out in a really bad way. And I kind of mentioned Jalen Simpson earlier. Jalen Carlisle's coming in. We expect him to be pretty good. I was hoping for good things from Jalen Simpson. Jalen Simpson, a 6th-round pick this year, and he didn't play well at all. Jalen Simpson, whether it was in coverage, I know they were trying him at corner just to see. He's a safety. They tried him at corner, didn't go well. At corner, he had poor effort on tackles. Earlier when I was talking about, diving at a player, and diving towards a player and diving for a player, two different things. Jalen Simpson was diving towards a player for the tackle instead of diving for a player for the tackle. I saw it multiple times as I was watching the game. Number 36 out there just looking goofy, man. It just wasn't good. Now, this is first action in the NFL, but you've played football before. Act like you know what you're doing. You're just playing football. I understand it's a step up from college to the NFL. It's just football, man. And Jalen Simpson looks stupid. So That's my stock down list. Is Dallas Flowers, Blake Freeland, Taven Bryan, Eric Johnson, Liam Anderson, Colts kick return, Jonah Lalu, Jalen Simpson, and Keaton Slovis. So now I think it's also, I want to mention Craig Young. Craig Young, the Indy native who went to Kansas, he looked pretty good yesterday. Made a couple of plays, was around the ball. He didn't really do anything special. He just had a knack for being around the ball, which is good, right? If he can carve out a special teams role, he could be Zaire Franklin, right? Zaire Franklin came in. Had some things to learn on the defensive side of things, had to clean some stuff up, but was really good on special teams. And that's what we saw, in my opinion, from Craig Young. So maybe you add him to the stock up list, somebody, again, that I thought was around the ball a lot. And I think there's something to be said for that on the defensive side of things. Now, making impactful plays is what you really want, right? As a team, what we caused 3 turnovers, Kenny Moore interception, Micah Abraham fumble return for a touchdown, and there was another one, right? I'm pretty sure there was another turnover somewhere in there, and I just can't remember what it is, but I'm pretty sure that we caused 3 turnovers, so doing pretty good. I don't think we turned the ball over. Jason Bean fumbled the ball. That's right, yeah, Jason Bean fumbled the ball. Technically threw an interception if you want to count the interception on the 2-point conversion as an interception. So there's that. So really Jason Bean, I have him on the stock up. Can't be turning the ball over. That's where it evens out, and that's where people are going to tell me I'm crazy for having him on the stock up list. But I think in terms of his fit for this team, his fit for the scheme, the way he's the emergency quarterback, right? Somebody you can have develop. So I think Jason Bean would be a good option. We'll see what happens. See if there are people that agree with me in the future. Truett, man, what's up? Glad you're able to make it, man. Curious to see how kickoffs change throughout the season. As teams start to see what others are doing. Yeah, exactly, right. What's working, right? Like I want to go back and I'm going to go look at the Jacksonville tape when they played Kansas City. And go ahead, Blue Nation, ask me whatever you want, brother. And see that kickoff, because that's what I believe was the best kickoff of the weekend. So what are the Jags doing, right? Did they do something differently than we did? So going to go through, I'm going to start paying attention to the kickoffs. I want to see how we can be better, right? That can be a game. When you see Anthony Gould move, Anthony Gould is the type of dude with the kind of speed and explosiveness that if there's just a little bit of space, you give that dude just a little bit of space, and he can make one guy miss, and he's gone. Okay, so that's where I want to see our kickoff coverage get. I want us to be able to, from a kickoff perspective, kickoff return, I want us to be able to be explosive in that way. I also want our kickoff team, right? The return team needs to get better. We were giving up some real bad field position to the Broncos on kickoff. We need to clean that up. We can't do that. That was Andrew Luck's whole career. Our special teams return, or our special team kickoff coverage, was terrible. So throughout the new rules, we need to figure out how to not be terrible on special teams. That's what I want to look forward to as we go forward. We need to not be so bad on special teams. Let's see, what are the receivers? Caught a touchdown for the receiver from the Viking. That was Laquan Treadwell. Laquan Treadwell did make our stock up because he caught that touchdown. He was also wide open for another touchdown with Keaton Slovis on the field, but Keaton Slovis overthrew Laquan Treadwell. So I thought he played well. I think there's a chance. See, the tricky part is that we have our 6 receivers that are going to make the team. So a guy like Laquan Treadwell, if he's performing well, continues to perform well in the preseason, somebody else is probably going to pick him up as a depth piece and even put him on their practice squad. I don't know how likely it is he continues to perform well. Will he end up on our practice squad? That's what I'm not sure about. But I thought he played well yesterday. I think that was really it. He's as a red zone threat. Hey, you need a guy's red zone threat. And then have Laquan Treadwell. It'd be cool to see Laquan Treadwell make plays on the rest of the field, though, right? Instead of just the end zone. But scoring touchdowns is the name of the game. Will Sam make the cut? So far, I think Sam showed enough to be able to make the cut. Some of the throws that he made, I thought Sam looked fine. When you're talking about third quarterback on the roster, and like really the question, we know what we're going to get from Sam, right? Question is there enough from one of the other guys to push Sam out? Excuse me. And I just don't know if that was the case. Keaton Slovis wasn't anything special. I know there were some people that thought he performed well, and he wasn't terrible. I just don't think Keaton Slovis is anything special. I honestly think the competition is more between Jason Bean because of what he can do, his escapability in the pocket, the way he's able to move around. He can still function. Like if we had to go to the emergency quarterback, then we would be in a situation where Jason Bean can still run the same offense as Anthony Richardson, right? So, and obviously Joe Flacco can't, so the offense can change. But, again, you get to that position, emergency quarterback, Jason Bean, and the modern NFL, Shane Steichen's offense, I feel better with Jason Bean than I would Keaton Slovis. Question is, do I feel better about Jason Bean than I do Sam Ehlinger? And, again, we know what we get from Sam. And even though I don't want Sam starting, like, once you get Jason Bean against starters in the NFL, how would that look? How bad would that be? That's really the question for me. So at some point, like I hope that we get right. The starters aren't playing the rest of preseason. I'm just going to put that out there. Shane Steichen didn't say that. Nobody from the Colts said that. But we have joint practice with the Cardinals this week. Then the next week we have joint practice with the Bengals. The starters aren't playing in the preseason anymore. So what I hope we see, starters for other teams probably not playing in the preseason either, just to have that out there. I hope we get to where maybe Keaton Slovis will start a game and Jason Bean will start a game, right? And we can interchange the three quarterbacks. Joe Flacco doesn't need to play either, in my opinion, right? Don't have Joe Flacco out there. But go ahead and have the three quarterbacks competing for the emergency quarterback spot. Just play those three quarterbacks in the next two games. Maybe you even, if Joe Flacco does play, every quarterback can get a quarter, and you see what every quarterback can do in that quarter. Not every quarter is created equal. You might have two offensive possessions in one quarter and then four offensive possessions in another quarter, but that's how I think we should do it. And I think you should have, again, Sam was the third quarterback one game. But the first of those guys to get in. Maybe next time Keaton Slovis first to get in, and then Sam. Next time Jason Bean first to get in, and then Keaton Slovis, and then Sam finishes the last preseason game. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's just as I sit here and think about how to get the best information out of that group and how to really go and be able to compare these guys. That's how I see it. That's how I would look at things. These games don't count. If you put Jason Bean in against a team's second team and it's terrible and he has two pick sixes, you end up losing the game by 40. Who cares? It's the preseason. You need to see what you have, right? So go ahead. Whatever crazy, kooky ideas you could possibly have as a coach, like play them out and see what these guys can do. That's how I feel about the preseason and how I feel about how you can go see what you have with these guys. So that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question there. But so far, the direct answer to your question, yes. So far, Sam makes the cut as a third quarterback. I think Jason Bean made headway to be behind him there. So we'll see what happens in the future. I'm going to be paying a lot of attention. And again, we have joint practice this week, And I did get my work schedule for my day job. This week, we're going to be able, and I actually might have been wrong. Oh no, they're doing joint practices late, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming in. They're doing joint practices late in the day. It's going to be like 6:30 p.m. so that people can go see Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, practice from 6 to 8 on Wednesday, 6 to 7:20 on Thursday. So we'll be able to be here. Oh, man. Okay, so we'll be here Wednesday. And then Thursday, I think we'll be able to do it Thursday evening. Might be a little later than normal. I have to be at work at 5 to do some stuff, to move some stuff. That shouldn't take that long. It didn't take us that long to move everything out yesterday. Shouldn't take that long to move everything back in. So we should be okay there. Yeah. So Wednesday, Thursday, expect us to be streaming. And then the game's on Saturday. Let me go see the Colts schedule here. Where we at? Colts schedule. Boom, boom. All right, so the game is at 7 o'clock on Saturday. We'll definitely be able to stream Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Then next week, they get back to normal practice. Training camp schedule stops. So, yeah, I think we should go get Justin Simmons as well. I think that was pretty apparent yesterday. Defense could use a veteran back there, somebody else in the secondary. So, going forward, next week, when joint practice with the Bengals happens, I don't know right now what time that's going to be. Hopefully we'll be able to get to that. My schedule, a little up in the air, but I know the game is next Thursday. I do not work next Thursday, so we will be able to stream during all the games. Okay, the only game this entire season, preseason, regular season, postseason, the only game I'm not going to be able to stream is going to be the Steelers game, because I'll be at the Steelers game. So other than that, we'll stream every game. Okay, Cardinals, Bengals, regular season, all of it. Because I'm pretty sure all our games this year are on Sunday. I'm pretty sure. Okay, pretty sure. So that's going to be that. I appreciate anybody that stopped by. Appreciate you guys hopping in the comment section. I'm going to go through, start looking at film. I have a company party to go to tonight, but I have the next few days off, man. Going to start getting into film. I want to start breaking down different groups. I want to start breaking down individual players, right, just like we did last year with AR, Josh Downs, right? We're going to look at some of the young guys. A.D. Mitchell only had one catch in the game, so we can't break down as much as we did last year. We didn't get the starters for as much as we did last year, but we're going to look at film. We're going to get detailed about what we're seeing with these guys. So make sure you subscribe, have notifications on. Make sure you share this with anybody, right? Share a link to the channel with anybody you know that's a Colts fan that needs some more Colts content. Share this with them. Got plenty of content coming out. Of course, I want your guys' opinion on any of it. I want you guys stopping by for any live streams, whatever it may be. I love having you guys in here, being able to talk in real time. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, start getting ready for the party tonight. So you all have a wonderful Monday, and we will talk again tomorrow. All right, and with that said, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.